It's time to save this historical marker from being replaced. I'm in Farmersville, Texas, and while I was going around town getting some footage and checking out some historical markers, I actually ran into one of the directors of the Collin County Historical Association. I ran into her while I was at the Bain Honecker house, and after we spoke about history for a little bit and just kind of what was going on in the area, she asked me what brought me into town. I told her that I was here to see some of the local historical markers and do some restoration on any that might need it. She asked who I was with, and like most people, she was a little bit surprised to hear that I'm not with anybody. I'm just some dude that loves history, has some tools, and some spare time. As we were talking about the restoration process, and she was asking me about some of the historical markers that I'd been able to see, side note, she's actually worked on getting about 30 of them in location, so that's pretty cool. She had told me that it was such a shame because they were actually going to have to replace the one at the Methodist church in town. Now, I had already scouted that one, and it didn't look like anything that I couldn't handle. So when I asked her if they were replacing it because there were some misspellings or they had found it to be inaccurate, so they were going to have to get a new casting, kind of what the deal was, she said, no, you just can't read it. Now, if you didn't know, this particular size of historical marker actually cost $2,500 to get made. And that's not chump change, especially when you're on a small budget like a lot of our historical associations. I told her that they could go ahead and budget that money for something else and that she should swing by the next day to see what it looked like. So at the end of this video, let me know what you think. Does it still need to be replaced, or can they go ahead and spend that money on something else? This is marker number 6151, First Methodist Church of Farmersville. This congregation traces its beginning to organized Methodist classes conducted in 1856 by the Reverend J.W. Chalk in a local schoolhouse west of the pioneer town of Farmersville. A community-wide all-night revival held in Farmersville's lone church structure in 1870 aroused many in attendance to join the Methodist congregation. Arbor meetings were held for 15 years on property near Brushy Creek owned by Sam R. and Mary Hamilton beginning in 1873. The congregation built its first church structure at this location in 1875. The one-room building was razed and replaced in 1902 with a grand ornate church building designed by James Edward Flanders. The magnificent structure was destroyed by fire at great cost to the congregation in 1924. Church services were held in the Corns Theater before a new Greek Revival-style church structure was completed in 1926. The congregation has a history of service to the local community. Space in the church building was used for a community blood drive and as an air raid shelter during World War II. Renamed the First United Methodist Church in 1968, the congregation has sponsored youth programs in New Mexico and participated in missionary work in South America. So what do you think? Did we manage to save this one? Me personally, I say, wow, we just saved ourselves $150 plus 2,350. I know it was a bad joke, but I just couldn't help myself. In all seriousness, I think this one turned out great. And if you know of any historical markers I should check out, please drop them below in the comments, and I'll see y'all on the next restoration.